Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Jenna Vincent, sex and money coach for wealthy and well-fucked women. I forgot what day it is, day 7 of my 30 days in a row of live video. And we're going to talk about dark wellness tip number 2 for women's health, which is shifting from people-pleasing to pussy-pleasing. Because there's a lot of women, myself included, I was queen of this, that run around with no boundaries and trying to be good girls and please everybody else to the detriment of their own health. So people pleasing is probably, I don't know what's number 1, but it's way up in the top 5 probably of what makes a woman not feel like a woman, makes a woman feel like crap and not sexy and all of those good things, all of those bad things. So people pleasing is a big no-no. So how do you go from being a people pleaser to a pussy pleaser? It takes embracing your inner bitch. So I call this the bitch wound because there's a lot of us that we've been scared to ruffle feathers, we've been scared to be called out, or we've been scared to look like we're bitchy, or to, heaven forbid, look like we're a bitch, or somebody calls us a bitch. My definition of a bitch is a woman with standards and boundaries. There's nothing wrong with standards and boundaries. However, people that benefit from you having none will pitch a fit and call you a bitch, or worse, when you start having standards and boundaries. So that's something that you have to work through. That it's not comfortable, but you get through it. This is why one of my words is unapologetic. Like, you have to live unapologetically for yourself. And being nice is not the same as being kind, right? So sometimes help, and I've seen, this is a theme this week, I think, on Facebook. Service, like saving someone, is not sometimes, it's sometimes enabling them. So that's one example. Service to save someone is a disservice. So look where you might be enabling others by trying to be nice. You know, being kind is when it's soul aligned for you, it's soul aligned for them, and they may not realize it at first, but it is. So I want you to remember that soul aligned is good for everybody. And it's, a lot of people will get mad at you. Like, you might lose friends, you might lose family members, but that's okay. If they don't want to be around you when you're an empowered person that looks out for your own self, then you don't want them around anyway. And it may seem like that's cold and but you'll see people's true colors when you start kind of standing up for yourself, where you might not have done that before. And it might shock you, and especially around family. That's how it was for me. So instead of reacting or acting from a place of, I don't want them to be mad at me, I don't feel comfortable saying no, you get to step into the discomfort and say no when you really mean no, and say yes when you really mean yes. And sometimes we don't even know what those are because we're so used to just avoiding ourselves and our own feelings and our own wants and desires that we don't even know where we're doing that. So this tip is important to look at, where am I actually not honoring my own self and my own desires? And where am I just doing things because I want to keep the peace, or I don't want to rock the boat, or I don't want to say no, or I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. It's not about being mean. It's not about being mean, but that doesn't mean people won't have their reaction to it. And maybe even call you mean, but it's having a boundary is not mean. But people that aren't used to that version of you will probably say, you've changed and you're not who you used to be. Well, that's true. you're not going to be that version of you anymore. So that's dark wellness tip number 2 is no more people pleasing. So say no when you mean no, say yes when you actually really want to. And it's okay to not want to. Permission to want what you want and permission to say no more. Because most women actually say yes to a lot of things that out of obligation and sacrifice. And then the things that they should say yes to, like the things that are actually soul aligned and going to create what they want, then they're scared to say yes to that because they're more attached to obligation and sacrifice because we think that's what makes us a good woman. And obligation and sacrifice, you don't get rewards for that. You get more obligation and sacrifice. So kind of the story that we're taught is really backwards. So every time you say yes out of obligation, every time you say yes out of sacrifice, you're actually creating more of that energy in your life. So if you don't like obligation and sacrifice and you're tired of that bullshit, then you get to start saying yes to your soul. Yes to, when I say pussy pleasing, I mean like you, like your desires. What do you want? Like what makes you wet and juicy? That's your answer. Not just saying yes because you feel like you should say yes. Like, do you want to? It's okay if you don't. Permission granted. And that feels highly, highly uncomfortable when you start. So, and I know because I did it. So you just lean into the discomfort and commit to being a soul-led woman and a well-pleasured woman, and that's for the greater good of everybody. Not being a doormat is not good for anybody, especially you. So no more of that. So happy Friday, you guys enjoy. My course Pleasure, we're gonna work on this, all about not being the good girl anymore. So Pleasure starts August 6th. I will post the link. It's thejennavincent.com/pleasure. We talk all about the daddy wounds, the masculine wounds, the God wounds, the bitch wounds. So what that we talked about today, like how to step into that unapologetic version of you, the one that's not scared to say what she wants to say or to set a boundary or to say no. That's a huge part of stepping into the wealthy version of you, the well-fucked version of you. And, you know, if you're afraid to be seen as a bitch, then you'll show up like a doormat. People will take advantage of you and they'll walk all over you and you'll be there for them. But when you need help, they're nowhere around. That's not fun. You know, you're doing a lot of things you don't want to be doing. And you're probably burnt out and tired. And none of that is good for your emotional and physical feminine health. So Pleasure is one way you can work with me. And then you can also work with me one-on-one for 6 months to step into the wealthy and well-fucked version of you, the one full of pleasure and the unleashed version of you, the next level up, like the one that has like what you've been desiring about but haven't let yourself have yet, in love, money, sex, and business. So one-on-one is 6 months. It's $11K pay in full. Pleasure is $997, or there's a highly affordable plan of even $99 a month. So don't let money make your decision for you. You get to choose what you want to do. So I'd love to see you in those containers. It is my passion and joy. I want more wealthy and well-fucked women in the world. And on that note, enjoy your weekend. May it be filled full of desire and pleasure and happiness and joy. And I will see you guys tomorrow.